up, everyone? Welcome. We have a special guest here. He's a lawyer, maybe. We are going to be talking about and discussing immigration law. And what's better known for you people on viewers is ICE. And we are not talking about vanilla ice.
We have Abu Bakr here. He is an immigration lawyer.
He's also an immigrant.
And we thought with everything going on right now with the country's immigration policies and systems, we thought there'd be no one better to bring in than you, Abu Bakr. How are you?
And the only one available.
I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate it.
Yes. First, for the record, I was born in the States. My parents came here through legal immigration back.
Illegal? Or
No,
legal.
they came here through legal channels back in.
Like a boat? Raft?
It was more like a Pan-American flight.
Real deal.
Pan Am Airways. That's old school.
Yeah,
It used to be one of the world's biggest airlines that had a hub in Karachi, actually.
My parents came here in the 70s. I don't understand. Where are you guys trying to get at?
No. Should we continue the recording? We're just trying to get at immigration law.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Let's keep with the goals.
That's what I thought I was here for.
In all seriousness, although there are going to be some jokes here, we do have Abu Bakr here. He's an expert in the country's immigration system. He represents a lot of folks in immigration cases. And so we just wanted to bring you on. And why don't we just start by letting the audience know a little bit about you. Tell us a little about yourself, Abu Bakr.
Well, my name is Attorney Abu Bakr Meah. I'm the owner of Meah Law Firm, PC. If you have any immigration questions, please do reach out, 708-769-3024.
We'll pop it in the comments of the description.
Yes, sir.
Too.
I want to give a disclaimer. First and foremost, the information that I'm going to provide to you guys today is just for self-knowledge, and no way it engages in any kind of attorney-client relationship. So, knowledge is power, and I'm here to help out the community, and I want to thank you for inviting me here.
Welcome. Anytime, all day, every day. So let's get in it. Tell us about it. How many people have you innocently put in jail?
Innocently put in jail?
Yes.
I don't think I have.
You don't do that. Okay.
All right, let's talk to us about how you got into this field. You said you're an immigration lawyer. You obviously gave your talk to us about your background, how you got into it.
So, coming from a community that's really, second generation and first generation immigrants, I understand what it means to be an immigrant firsthand. So initially, I really got the experience going south of the border, Arizona, where I lived for a little bit, and it's right by the border of Mexico, and I had to deal with a lot of that removal defense cases that people were trying to slip.
You worked
in.
on the southern border?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was there for a little bit. Yes.
Wow, you must have seen some very interesting cases.
Give us some examples.
Of what? The border? The border
took over.
Okay.
ICE. These officers are all over the United States.
Yes.
Tell us what their rights are. These government officers and policies, and then what rights do we have, if any?
So I is using a really dark past in our history. He's really trying to enforce the laws that were engaged in a time where America wasn't really friendly towards a lot of people, not only immigrants, but to our fellow Americans. We're talking about the 1940s, obviously, during the World War II era. And basically, it's more of a scare tactic, in my humble opinion. One of the things that he just really enforced was the registration. He's trying to go for the 1940s Aliens Act, where it was...
The Alien Enemies Act?
Yes.
Okay. What is that?
So basically, it's a bunch of things, jargons. We don't have the time to really go into
Or
detail.
you don't know it, but go on.
But no, there's a lot of clauses in it. Basically, it's trying to make sure that the United States is aware of all individuals who are within this border. So basically, the government is trying to really enforce those who are enter the United States. They're trying to keep people away. They're trying to limit people from coming into the United States illegally, and those who are here, they're trying to register and try to figure out where they are so they can go through removal procedures.
But why now? Where were they all these years? Why didn't Biden do it? Why didn't Obama do it?
Well,
why didn't Osama do it?
I mean, I don't know why Osama didn't do it, but with all due respect,
Osama for your mama.
The administration really came on this notion on that he's going to be strict on immigration. He's just trying to enforce on what he's really doing in this.
Okay, so my reaction.
He ran on that.
Yeah,
He ran on that.
and that's okay. You know, like people. You know, I had a debate with someone else. Is like, who's going to do their work, right? Those who do the landscaping, the drywalls, and all that. It's a big force. It's called a labor force, right? Question for you, or if there's responses, you guys can respond. But I think it's a big deal that this is happening.
I mean,
I'm not pro or against. I'm just talking.
Immigration policies. He's very unpredictable.
Sure.
I mean, you have to understand that just the other day. He just came, with this act and this registration, enforcing this registration act. But at the same time, he's also informing, the news outlets are talking about it, that not a new has, initially came out with the Muslim ban, during his first term.
Yeah.
Now
No Tobies.
That was very scary for a while.
I mean, that was.
What was that? What was the
Did
restriction?
you remember at O'Hare they had there was like protest, but there was. Actually, there was like demonstrations right outside of O'Hare. They were detaining people coming in.
Oh, that's right, Arabs.
That were coming from certain Muslim countries.
Not Arabs,
I think there was
Hijabis and all them.
6 or 7 countries, and there was a large handful of people that were detained. There was lawyers waiting out here to get them representation. Demonstrations done by the public just about that. But what were you saying? Go on. Keep
Well,
going.
I mean, either way, right? We have to know. We have to knowledge is power, and we have to know what our rights are.
Sure.
So there are certain rights that we still have.
So what are they? If an ICE agent approaches you,
ICE agent approaches you, right? You have a right to
Hug him.
have him identify himself, right?
like boy or girl or trans?
No.
Sorry.
I'm trying to say that he has to approach himself to show that he is an ICE agent. Through a badge, through a card, through a uniform, that has
through
to
a
be
baton,
there,
if you know
right?
what I mean.
I mean, then you have some other issues.
I see.
But the reality is that he has to identify himself. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to go ahead and get an attorney, and you can exercise those rights. And once you have exercised and you've communicated that you're exercising those rights, then everything after that, it can be tossed out. So this
You're
is
saying
where it
verbally
comes
saying
down.
this.
Well, you should say that I'm verbally exercising my right to remain silent. And I would like to go ahead
And
have
I'm sorry,
my
I want to bring
attorney.
up this example. Some people have saw last week. The PhD student, she was picked up. The Turkish woman. Like, what do we do? I'm just talking about a scenario for the viewers.
They just
Someone
picked him off the
approaches.
street.
Yeah.
She's, I think walking.
Do we go with the immigration officer arrested?
I mean, no. I mean, in this situation, the student should say that she wants to exercise her right to.
She didn't know any
silent.
better. But I'm also
she wants
asking.
to-
They grabbed her
right to-
phone. They approached her off the street.
They took her book bag.
Is that okay to do?
I mean,
Could that happen?
I mean, if you're, in theory, right? There's a lot of things that it all depends on what the warrant, what they were subjected to, why are they being taken.
Okay, here's another question. Can I demand a warrant? Like, I don't think she had a. They didn't summon a warrant.
Well, a warrant comes on to play if an ICE is, for example, coming to your house. You don't have to open the door. Okay, you can ask ICE agents to go ahead and provide you a warrant by slipping underneath the door, and you can look in that. And
Can we
that
slip them a
warrant-
20? So let us go.
I mean, I wouldn't try that.
I would not try that.
I wouldn't try.
Don't
that.
try this at home, kids.
But when they do slip in that warrant, you want to look at that warrant. It has the name, has the date of birth,
Watermark.
and you want to see, for the most part, if it's a legit warrant, and you want to also see if it's been signed by a actual federal judge. A supervisor, a police supervisor, is not going to go ahead and.
Okay, they
be
slide it over.
sufficient.
Let's talk through that. What happens? Like, do I have to open the? How do I know? I don't know Supreme Courts by name.
Well, I'm
do I
just
open
saying
the door?
you want to say a judge's
see.
name. You want to
Okay.
say judge on there instead of a supervisor, officer signing off on that
Yeah.
warrant.
So do we open the
So-
door and get arrested?
Well, I mean, if there is a warrant, it's a valid warrant, then obviously you have to abide by.
Okay, then we get arrested.
But no, I wouldn't say that. It's that you're going to get arrested. But I'm saying that if you are getting detained, right, you want to exercise your right to get an attorney.
Okay.
You have a right to remain silent, and you have a right to get legal counsel. And these are constitutional rights. These are rights that Donald Trump cannot take
even for
away.
non-citizens.
Okay.
Yes.
So talk to us. Talk to about people that are scared right now. What advice?
I'm scared.
So you're giving advice about, hey, like, how do you when you get approached by an officer? What are some
I'm
of
not
your
going to
steps?
say that it's not scary times, and that would be very subjectively wrong for me to do.
Okay.
Is to say that these are not scary times. These are scary times, but like I said, knowledge is power. So when you are detained, the first and foremost I would do is I would go ahead and exercise my right to remain silent
Okay.
by letting the officer that's apprehending me know that I'm exercising this right, but I also want to get legal counsel.
Okay.
Okay, And
saying it that way.
I mean, you have a right to legal counsel.
Okay.
And once your attorney looks at the record, that's where it comes down to, right? Why are you being detained? Make that communication. He can guide you, because then things are not in the record that can go against you, and he can guide you to the client's best interest, and that's our job here. That is our job here. Now, things are very scary at a port of entry, right? When people are coming through airports, through Custom Border Patrol, right? Because that's a new admission, right? That's an admission into the United States, and there's a lot of leeway.
But you're talking about East Coast, New York, and all that. We're talking about Midwest.
Everywhere is an entry.
No, definitely is airports. I meant he was talking about, like, let's say boats and all that. They're coming strictly
those
airports.
coming in boats. The most common entry points are airplanes.
I'm saying the airplanes. I mean, he is right. Albert is right. I mean, for everyday people,
who's coming in a boat, man?
This guy came. Hey, what country were you born in?
I was born in America.
Why did you hesitate? Are you a citizen, like a real one? I can call ICE right now if I need to.
I was born in
What's
America.
What's the number?
911.
Wait, guys.
Sorry.
I was born in America.
Yeah. I get up against the wall.
No. My parents were Americans before I was even born.
They were. That's the key. They're no longer.
No, they are.
So
They are American.
Sorry, you don't get defensive. We're just talking. Just trying to figure stuff out. I want to make sure this recording is legal. You're a citizen.
I'm with him.
I'm a citizen. Just checking. So.
Did you bring your passport? Can we see it?
You forgot it at home. It's a toy passport.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. We don't want to offend him. So.
Offend who? Me?
Trump. He's listening.
All right.
Okay, carry on.
Back to the port of entry.
Yeah.
Back to the port of entry, right?
Sure.
Even U.S. citizens, right, are subject to be searched,
yes,
right, when they're coming to a new country. But you have a right to. There's certain things you have to be aware of. No matter what, they have to let you into the country as an American. Okay.
No matter what.
No matter what, they.
Well, that's a good question. So can I ask?
But that means a naturalized citizen with a passport.
The government has to let you in with the.
No, but I've heard in the news East Coast are being held hostage for 6-8 hours when they land.
Well, I mean,
citizens.
Ultimately, they have to let you into the country.
What's an American? What's constitutes an American? You have to
White
have
guy.
an American passport.
White
Born in
skin.
America?
An American, right, is our Constitution, as if, at least right now, is stating that if you're born in the United States, you're a born citizen, or if you're naturalized. Those are the two simple ways of becoming citizens, right? Either you're going to be born in the States or you naturalize.
Okay.
If you're an American, you have to be let into your country, ultimately. Now they can come, they can question you.
Whose job is it to prove that you're an American? Their job or your job?
When you're coming into it, you're seeking an admission back to the United States.
You should
so
have your
you
passport
have
on you,
to
right?
go ahead and prove that, the burden of proof is on you to show that you're an American. But once that burden, you've demonstrated that burden, the burden shifts.
But how else can I show it if I'm giving you my passport, my American
It's already
passport,
on there.
and they're detaining me for 6 to 8 hours?
If you're a United States citizen, and as you have the U.S. passport, you demonstrated that you're a U.S. citizen, the burden on proof is on the government to prove otherwise.
So I've heard stories that.
But that's subjective.
I've heard some stories about people that are American citizens, whether they're born here or not, maybe they're born in another country, still being detained or.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, they're being.
You tell me. Have you heard about this?
I mean, there are certain situations where they want to make sure you're not a security threat, while they let you in, or you're not this, and you're really. You are who you say you are, and they may try to verify that information. That might take a little bit of time.
Isn't the passport sufficient?
Well, I mean, you have to understand this.
People can fake passports. That happens, right?
It happens quite a bit, actually.
So I got a question, not to transition over, but we're talking about, there's Hajj coming, the pilgrimage, people are traveling internationally, they want to go to Spain, England. There's people who don't want to go to Mexico, Cancun anymore, because spring break.
If you're a U.S. citizen,
is there any reservation? People want to go to India, Pakistan, our parents.
If you're a U.S. citizen, you have a fundamental right to be admitted back to your home country.
Okay.
So you're saying you're comfortable, and we tell the travelers they can go and
let me ask you a question, a personal question. So you've said this ad nauseum. If you're an American, get back in the country. Talk to us about you don't have to name names or people, but have you seen cases of Americans not being let back in the country?
Yeah, you don't give names, just give us their social security number.
Ultimately, they have all been let back into the country.
Ultimately. What are some of the reasons for holdup? What's happened? What have you?
People's phones too.
Yeah.
Have you-
Yeah.
Secure. Now, if someone
yeah,
search
talk
your
about that,
phone, if they search your phone as an American, you have a right to know why are they searching, who's searching. You
You
know,
can ask that question.
you can ask those
Want that
questions.
answer?
That's a good one.
Well, I mean, you can subpoena records. Well, now you can know the officer's name. That all these things are getting into a Pandora box,
Sure.
right? You know.
But I think that's what this is
But-
for this community right now, right? We
But
don't.
but
Right now, we
look,
don't know.
We're afraid.
I
Yes.
think the community. I think for green card holders,
Mhm.
right?
Fobs.
It's a little bit different.
Sure.
And for green card holders, right? There's really two ways to get rid of your green card, right?
Okay.
Either a judge is going to take it away from you,
Mhm.
right? Because he made a determination that there's no extenuating circumstances that you have deliberately abandoned your green card, or you have surrendered your green card. So oftentimes people are coming into the United States with a green card, and they're subjected to a situation where they are outside the country for longer than expected, and they are asked multiple questions.
Mhm.
Well, so long as they didn't surrender their green card, and so long as they're not being referred to an immigration judge,
Okay.
It's so
Right.
long.
they will
Rough crowd.
ultimately, unless is also that they shouldn't have gotten their green card in the first place, right, through fraud or
Oh,
through
like
other
an
means.
ex-wife paid her some money.
Misrepresentation
Yeah,
or something
fake-
of that
fake
kind of
marriage.
nature.
Sure.
Notion.
You know, there's some of you out
Right.
there.
I've heard of a lot.
Yeah, fake
You
marriages.
can
yeah.
be assured that you are, for the most part, the odds are pretty much favorable that you will be let back into this country.
So you seem like you're downplaying this situation.
This is all just theoretics. He's
Saying-
he's saying.
theatrics. He's just
All right. So
last one. We talked about citizen green card. What about H1s? There's a lot of people at my work were H1s and all that. All the
But-
people on
but
Devon
you
were
have to
they're
understand.
picking up people from stores.
I mean, you have to understand. These are H1s, H1Bs. I mean, you have to show that the labor certification, right, the public access file, and all that kind of stuff. You have to show that you actually have a real employer who has actually employing you, and
they're
you're actually
faking it.
working at the place.
Like a third-party
So
recruiter, bring them
there's-
in. Yes.
You know, and you actually show that you are paid, and there's a lot of places. There's a lot of H1B frauds that are happening where there's fake payrolls, there's XYZ, there's fake projects just to go ahead and sponsor an H1B. Trump is locking down on those things.
They should.
Um,
They're taking over our jobs.
So I don't know if they're taking over our jobs or not, but I would say that those, fraud is something that is not immigration.
My country tis. I'm a citizen, man. Get out.
Who?
No, you. Sorry, but the H1s.
Oh.
What else?
I do think there's really nothing to fear for the most part.
okay, I'm glad you're saying that, right? Like, if you're an American citizen, you have a passport, you're not breaking the
All
laws.
right, guys, go back to Cancun.
You're not breaking the laws. You're not doing anything. You said we have nothing to worry about.
Well, there's for those who are here undocumented, and these are people who have now overstayed their visa.
Hold
Yeah.
on. This is getting juicy. I want to talk about this.
Okay, so there
Let's get
are
into this.
Student visa?
There are two types of undocumented, right?
Yes.
For the most part, there's
Yes.
people who have slipped underneath the radar completely.
Yes.
They jumped the fence.
It's big.
which-
It's big in the Desi community. Being undocumented is huge in this.
And then there's a different undocumentation when you come on a visit visa and you overstay your visa, right?
Like
You're
you'd
an
never
unlawful
leave.
presence.
Do you
You're
represent people
really,
that do that
You're
stuff?
not really undocumented. You're on unlawful presence.
Sure, you're not allowed in the country.
Transpassing.
Well, no, you've overstayed your visa.
Don't say
Trespassing.
welcome. Like Onaja, the girl that stayed in Pakistan too long.
You've overstayed your visa ultimately, but that doesn't really make you into a situation where you can rightfully. I mean, there are avenues for forms of relief, immigration relief.
How? Talk to us.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, there are situations where, for example, I've seen situations where a person has entered the United States and they fall in love on a student visa and they end up getting married. So they just, they've adjusted their status.
What happens if they get caught? They go straight to prison
With what?
from the border.
From the
If they
border,
get caught crossing the border.
if you are stuck at the border, right, you will get ultimately,
Either
in
deported
an
or-
ideal situation, you should be getting
Fly back home.
A notice to appear, NTA document we call, right?
Mhm.
You know, where you have a court date from an immigration judge, but if they want to go ahead detain you at the border, right, which they're authorized to do,
They put
you will
like in a
you will
state prison.
ideally have unless you show a credible fear of returning back to your homeland, then you can be subjected to expedited removal and whatnot.
Oh, interesting.
Fantastic.
Booker does not discriminate. If you need his help, his support, his website will be in the comments below.
Business card. We'll have pictures, nudies of him. Pictures of him. Anything else to add before we close? Cutie pie?
What do you got?
Well, anyways, guys, these are scary times, and the words of wisdom is that if you haven't obtained counsel or you don't have any links or contacts to counsel, try to do that. Like, try to have a few friends who are in law of some sort of fashion, and have a
Call
plan.
him. We're good.
Have a plan.
I'm safe.
So,
Have a plan.
thank you so much for.
Abu Bakr, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Shiz Happens.